Welcome to Star Wars Action News, helping Star Wars collectors collect better.
Hello, Star Wars Action News listeners and viewers. This is Arnie here at Times Square Toys R Us with Steve Sansweet. Once again, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Arnie. It's always good to be here with you guys.
And in New York, our first time seeing you up here in New York.
Well, this is a really exciting time. I mean, I was back here for FAO Schwartz, which the brand is now owned by Toys R Us, years ago, doing display for, I think, maybe episode 3 and talking about the toys and things. So now we're here at the main Times Square store of the flagship store of Toys R Us. And since I have spent so much of my money for my collection at Toys R Us stores over the last 38 years, it's nice to see some of them back here at Toys R Us in these wonderful display cases that they've put together.
So tell us about how that came about. You brought not just you, but a bit of Rancho Obi-Wan with you to Manhattan.
Right. They contacted us and said, would you be willing or interested in setting up a display that sort of goes over the history of Star Wars toys from the very beginning through the current time? And yeah, I said, we're great. But, you know, picking about 60 to 75 toys out of 300,000 is a bit of a challenge. And so Ann Newman and I, our general manager, sat down and we just came up with a bunch of different groupings, knowing the size of the glass vitrines that they had. And I think they've done a wonderful job, and it gives a pretty good reference. And they're all over the store, so you sort of need a map to find them.
Yeah, before we started recording, you pointed out the packaging they did, where they kind of recreated a vintage card look with the logo up top and then the silver piping around it.
I love it. I think they did a wonderful job. And then I wrote all of the copy. Of course, I tend to write long, so a bunch of it is edited. But I think it has the essential facts as to what everything is and gives people a pretty good idea of what was out when.
Yeah, I mean, I walk through these cases and I see slices of my childhood as well as things I'd never seen. Like the early bird package here. Of course, I had the figures. Of course, I never had that Luke or that box.
So the very earliest package, of course, came with the double telescoping Luke, and we all know the history to that it became too expensive to produce, and so only the very first boxes sent out in late February had the double telescoping Luke. There are, you know, a bunch of Vaders out there, and maybe 4 or 5 Ben Kenobis that were hand put together.
And what was like the one item that was first? Like you knew you were doing this. Was it the early bird kit or was it something else? Like this is the first thing, must go, and then you had to figure out what the other 74 were.
Well, we definitely knew we wanted the early bird kit, but of course there were things before the early bird kit. This came out in November of 1977 because there weren't going to be any action figures in the stores. So before that we had just the easy to produce cardboard items like did you ever put any of those together?
I remember being like 5 with a literal change purse of pennies that I took to an Osco drug and poured out on the clerk's table because I had a $1.06, which was what it took to get that Luke Skywalker one right there. Took it home and built it that night. And
you see, it's stories like that that stay with us for our lives and make us Star Wars fans and collectors. It's that personal interaction with Star Wars that is so important to the whole collecting field and to Star Wars fans in general, because we all like to get in lines and like to share the sense of community, and that's what it's all about. So it started with those. It started with a board game, and then we finally got the first plastic figures delivered in February of 1978. As I pointed out in a story in USA Today, however, there was one kid who got 12 action figures for the Christmas of 1977.
Was that little kid Steve Sansweet who grew up to own
everything? That little kid was Prince Albert of Monaco, because there was a board meeting of 20th Century Fox in Monaco in November of 77. Princess Grace was a board member, and Bernie Loomis, the head of Kenner, was there on another convention, and they had a factory set of the test molds of the first 12 figures, and they gave them to Princess Grace at the Fox meeting.
Oh, and the factory samples there, and I'm sure they were played with.
I wonder if Prince Albert still has those. Yeah, would
Maybe
you
he has
give
them
him
in
a
a
call?
can.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let's give him a call. Hey, Albert, do you still have your first Star Wars figures? Yeah.
And for anybody watching this live, if you're in the New York area, chance of a lifetime to see a double telescoping Luke. This is my first time seeing a Luke. I've seen an Obi-Wan, never before seen a Luke.
Well, and we have 26 cases. They're sprinkled all over the store. Jeff Carlisle, noted Star Wars artist and good friend, is going to be here, and he's going to be doing a Learn How to Draw Star Wars session. I'm doing a meet and greet. What time is your session, Jeff? Okay, 11 o'clock this morning, Jeff is doing his session. From 2 to 4, I'm doing a meet and greet and signing the action figure book or anything else that anybody has. And then this evening at 11:15, the first 100 people in line are going to be let in. And Jeff and I are going to be doing a live Periscope Q&A and panel, and then those people will be the first to get into this black draped area, which I have tried to sneak into, but every time I do, there's... Wait a second, I'm going to try again.
Nobody's looking, Steve. Nobody's looking.
Force lightning! Oh my God! I won't try that.
So to go from the oldest Star Wars toys to quite literally the newest Star Wars toys behind that curtain, Midnight Madness at Toys R Us, how much shopping are you planning to do? I mean, you'd have to send it across the country.
I'm not. Me shop?
Yeah, you just get it all free, right?
Well,
that's what everybody thinks.
Yeah, I get practically nothing for free. But I'm more enthusiastic. You know, hopefully some of the stuff will be available after tonight. I'm more enthusiastic about watching people and the joy of their shopping and sharing. And that the last thing I wanted somebody to tweet is, "That's Steve Sansweet grabbed the last..." Yeah, I wanted that 6-inch Ray figure, and he took it off the shelf. So I'm going to let other people have a chance to shop tonight. I'm going to look, maybe slobber a little. And I want to see all this stuff, too, because I've tried to stay spoiler-free with this.
Wow, I can't imagine staying spoiler-free and going into a Midnight Madness without a checklist.
Yeah, well, the problem is I want one of everything. I'm not going to get one of everything. There's not as much money in my life these days, and we have run out of room at Rancho Obi-Wan, although we're now renting a 3,500 square foot new storage facility as of November to try to empty out some of Rancho and have some more space for display.
So what's the total square footage including that now?
Wow. We'll be up to about 12,500 square feet.
That is amazing.
No, that's insane. Unfathomable is another good word. Yeah.
So, when we talked to you at Celebration, when Episode 7 was announced, and you said that Disney said that the Star Wars license wasn't exploited enough, you said you were going to focus on the Lucas era of Star Wars.
Well, and what Disney said was that internationally, there was a lot more room for expansion. And Lucasfilm always worked through licensing agents who also represented maybe 200, 300 or more other licenses and just regional licensing agents. Disney has offices all over the world, well established. They know the market, they know the retailers, they know the manufacturers. And so I think we're going to see a lot more different kinds of stuff internationally than we ever have before, and it's going to be more widespread.
True, I did just pre-order the Ronin Boba Fett.
Yeah, I love those pieces.
Nice.
I love the mashups with local culture and Star Wars, and the Japanese have done it better than anyone. Just great stuff, great stuff.
So, but I was wondering how your resolution, that you were only buying, like, the Lucas era, which I guess was episodes 1 through 6 in Clone Wars and maybe the Ewok movies. How's that resolution holding for you?
Not too well. You know, I'm still buying stuff that I love. There is a limit, but you know, I have to get things like the Campbell's soup cans with the Star Wars labels. The food products, which are there and gone, have always been important to me because they represent how widespread the Star Wars phenomenon is. You have it on in your kitchen, on your breakfast table, at night for dinner. You know, that's what makes Star Wars that everlasting, perennial brand that it is now, not just toys that come out for an event like a specific movie.
And that's what makes Star Wars take up 13,000 square feet almost.
And it's not enough. We have one more falling down barn that we have some plans for if we can raise the money.
All right. Well, Rancho Obi-Wan, always a great cause. We're always happy to help out with the breakfast in San Diego.
And that's been great. And so people are. I'm happy if people go to ranchoobiwan.org, become members,
yes.
Look at the great events we have. We have a wonderful fundraising event called Halloween coming up October 24th. It's going to be great fun. And our Rancho Obi-Wan Facebook page.
Yeah, you can become a member, you get the little collectible kit, and then you get the opportunity to tour Rancho Obi-Wan, which could be either a collectible night, or a collectible stream, or a fitness routine with that much square footage. I think you could go either way on that.
Yeah, and the tours are at least 3 hours, and I lead them all. So it's my fitness for the week.
So it's a 3-hour tour? A 3-hour tour?
At least. At least. Sometimes they go, if we have hardcore collectors, they go on.
I think that's the next step is Sansweet's Island. So,
You think we could take over Staten Island and rename it?
some people might prefer it.
Okay.
All right. Well, Steve, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, Arnie.
Thanks for watching this video. You can see full episodes of Star Wars Action News with more collecting news and reviews at swactionnews.com. We also have thousands of toy and collectible photos in our photo gallery. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. May the pegs be stocked and the Force be with you.